Breaking immigration news, the DREAM Act has been proposed by Senator Durbin. One last try. 20 years is a charm. Let's talk about who is eligible and what the requirements are. For temporary residency, you don't have to be any age. You could be 30, 40, 50, 60, you could be 25, but you had to have resided in the United States for at least 4 years before the bill is passed. And you have to enter the United States when you're 18 or younger. So a lot of people that couldn't qualify for DACA because, let's say, they were over 31 as of June 15, 2012, would actually be eligible for the DREAM Act. And we're talking about hundreds of thousands of people that missed that opportunity, that have been living in the United States for decades without any legal status. You have to be either enrolled in high school or a GED program, or be a high school graduate or a GED program, or you have to be enrolled in a university or a college, or you have to be serving in the military or have served in the military and have an honorable discharge. If you came to the United States maybe when you're 14 and now you're 45 and you never graduated high school, you could get enrolled in school right now online. You can go to your state website for Department of Education for your state. Let's say you live in California or Texas, and you can find an accredited school and actually go start attending an online accredited school for either high school or GED. Now you have to be attending because when and if we can file for your temporary residency, you're going to have to show that you're actively pursuing your education. Of course, you cannot have a serious criminal record. You cannot have a felony conviction, and you can't have multiple criminal misdemeanor convictions. What that will look like at the end, whether a DUI is going to be a disqualifying factor, I probably think it will be, or we will wait to see. Have a biometrics appointment and a medical examination, as well as pay a filing fee. Who knows what they will be? Now, the cool thing is, if you have DACA already, and you're otherwise eligible, you can actually be granted your temporary residency through the DREAM Act without having to actually apply, which would be huge. Now, if you are approved for temporary residency, you will not be removed from the United States, and you will get a work permit and allows you to travel out anywhere in the United States, get a job anywhere in the United States, and under the proposed act right now, you could travel in and out of the United States, which would be a huge opportunity. Now, once you get temporary residency, as soon as you complete one of the 3 tracks, you can file for your permanent residency. 1 is educational track, 2 is military track, or 3 is employment track. For the military track, you need to show 2 years of military service. That could mean that you file for temporary residency, and then once that's approved, immediately file for your permanent residency since you already have done 2 years of military service, because usually military contracts are for 4 years. This would be fantastic for a lot of DACA recipients who have already served in the U.S. military. For the educational track, you have to complete 2 years of a college or a university. So essentially, if you get your associate's degree, then it takes 2 years, then you can file for your residency. Of course, a lot of people have already passed, that are eligible for this, have even passed 4-year university and even law school or med school. So for you, you would do the temporary residency and then apply for permanent residency. Or if you have DACA already, you'd be converted to the temporary residency, and then once you get that receipt, you could immediately file for your permanent residency without. And for the employment track, you have to have 3 years of employment. 75% of that has to be with authorized work authorization from the U.S. government, and not simply without authorization. And to get your lawful permanent residency, of course, you still have to remain in the United States. You can't have a disqualifying criminal record. And finally, you have to show that you can read, write, and speak proficient English, as well as pass a civics test. For most people, that is not a hard thing to do. And if you're considering filing for it, the permanent residency, you would have at least a couple years to make sure that your English is up to snuff, which will surely be similar to the U.S. citizenship examination, and I will keep you posted. All I can say is, once you are a lawful permanent resident, you can file for U.S. citizenship naturalization after 5 years. But if you're married to a U.S. citizen, you can file after 3 years. Like, share, and follow. I will keep you posted on any other updates we have on the DREAM Act. I'm Gloria Cardenas, the Immigration Queen.